Hey guys, hello and welcome to the Firebase Study Jam by DSC HIT. It's super cool to have you all here. And of course, the million-dollar question is: hope the hey guys, hello and welcome to the Firebase Study Jam. And sorry for the interruption. Hope the thing is treating you right and you are having as amazing a time as you can have in your homes. But in order to make sure that we can come up with something good and constructive during these times, we are organizing all of these things. We're organizing study jams, online sessions, and events with you. So, a very warm welcome to each and every one of you who are present here. We are super glad to have you on board. And for today, we have with us Dhrumil Shah, who is a Google developer expert in Flutter and Dart. And for a long time, we have been discussing about putting together a session, and then Dhrumil suggested, okay, let's go ahead with Firebase. So for those of you who do not know much about Firebase, Firebase is an offering that gives you backend as a service through which you can deploy a backend and a database to your website or your app without much code. And that being said, I would not like to take up any more time, and I would pass it on to the man of the moment, Dhrumil Shah.
Hi guys, hello everyone. Sorry, I didn't realize that I'm already on the stream. So welcome everyone. So before we start this Firebase Study Jam, I want to know that how many people have actually worked on the Firebase with the Flutter, or how many have a kind of experience and who are facing some challenges with the Firebase, with the integration, or maybe any kind of thing. So this session is actually for those people who want to try Firebase with Flutter, and they don't know how to start, what to do, and how to do. So before we start, let me just help you out that how we are going to execute the whole this Firebase study jam. So as you can see on the screen, we have our normal application, which this counter app. Okay, I hope you everyone are able to see it. Okay, so now what we will do, we will simply create one application where we can actually add the data, and those data are like stored in the Firebase, and we will fetch those data from Firebase to our app. That's number one. And number two, we will implement the authentication also. Now that authentication, just to make the everything simple, we will do a anonymous authentication. So to do that, let's just start and delete this whole code, which is not required. Okay, and we'll simply create one stateless widget with my app. Now, first we will create an application, that the kind of application we need. So we will simply create a one material app. I don't know why my system is running behind the screen. It is not working properly. Not able to type. Sorry, guys. Okay, what I'll do, Wait, let me just switch off my VS Code and let me just switch on. I guess there is some issue with my system. It just got hanged.
So while we fix the issues, would you like to take some
I'm not
questions?
sure why.
We have a few questions here.
Yeah, please.
So
Because
this is one Ravi Kashyap asks, can we use Firebase for web backend development?
yes, you can use your Firebase as in any application as in backend. And the best part is you don't need to worry about how the everything will be taken. I mean, you should not need to worry about how you will gonna take care of what are the things are required. What you need, you just need a simple data structure and just put it over there, and you are done. So I guess now my system is up and running. What I'll do, I'll simply. Do we have any other questions in between?
No, I don't think so. No other questions yet.
Hello.
Yeah, hello. Yeah, no other
Yeah.
questions yet.
Okay. Cool. Yes. So my MacBook Pro is hanging. I don't know why. Okay. So what we need to do is we will create one simple login screen over here. Now to do that, I will create one more widget here. In the new folder, I will add screens. In the screen, I will add new file, login.dart. And in the login.dart, we will add I don't know why it is lagging behind. Something wrong is happening. Okay, what we can do, I have already ready-made code, and I will simply let that code in so that we can just simply start that. Okay. So see, so that's the thing that you should be able to do. So such kind of technical challenge if come, you should be ready. So this is what I learned based on my experience. So here I have a like main class, where in main class I have used actually the stream provider and everything that I will explain you in later. So what exactly happening in the main, in the home page and the sign in, I have two pages created, where in the home page we are fetching the data and I'll be showing, and in the sign in page I have simple in the body a button and a circular progress bar, and how it will run that I'll show you. Let me just close this app. Which is not running properly. Okay, and let me just run this app. So this is what we are going to understand now. Sorry guys. I don't know why my system is not helping me today. So yeah, so before it just run, let me just help you with the code that what happens. So in the Firebase, we have actually different kind of authentication methods available. If you are aware of in the Firebase, let me just help you in the Firebase console. So if I open this application, for example, which I have created for the demo, a weight tracker. Okay, so it is still loading. Can we just continue this stream after 10 or 15 minutes? Meanwhile, I can just restart my system. So, or we will just continue the discussion if you have any problem or something. And we will, once my system gets restarted, we will continue again. So I'm just stopping this screen sharing, and I'm just restarting my system. So hold on, guys.
Okay.
So in the meantime, we can take a few questions and discuss what you guys are all up to. If you have anything else coming up, we cannot really help. A system thing keeps on happening all the time. But yeah, if you guys, any of you have any
For
questions or something,
10 minutes, I'm just restarting my system. So that's why I'll not be into the stream.
In the meantime, let's start with this question. How's the quarantine treating you all? We have heard quite a few answers to this right now. And what about the others? So while the time goes and we wait for the system to come back online, we have the chat open. If any of you want to chat about anything, if you want to answer the question, please feel free. We are all open to hearing, because since these are difficult times, we all want to be there for each other and want to, go through and help each other out. So if you want to share with us how you're spending your quarantine time, we'd be super glad to help out. That is an interesting question. Punita, we are marking the question. We would bring this up when Dhrumil is back online.
If Node.js versus PHP for server-side web development. Well, that depends on what kind of project you're working on. If it's supposed to be integrated with some legacy system sometime in the future, then probably PHP is one of the most important things used in legacy systems. But if you want a new, brand new something, then probably Node.js, because Node.js is still coming up with so much more new things, new add-ons, libraries, that the support that you won't get on PHP.
Ravi, I guess another fundamental question that we can answer when we are discussing Node.js versus PHP is that the biggest advantage that Node.js brought into the ecosystem is you could use a single language across your entire stack. Like you could use JavaScript in your front-end application to handle your front-end data. And now with Node, you could also use that exact same thing for your backend as well. So that was the biggest USP of Node.js. With PHP, it's like you have to learn a different language to do a few other things. So it's essentially a trade-off question about whether you want to spend some bandwidth learning a new language altogether and getting proficient, or do you want to pick up a language you already know from your front-end development and then work alongside it. So this is a trade-off question that you have to answer yourself. What we can essentially do is give you the pros and cons, and these are the most of the things that came across our mind top of the head. So what we are going to do right now is we are going to feature some of the answers we have gotten to how is the quarantine treating you. This was the first answer we got from Vivek Shah Science. So far, so good.
Fair enough. Hello.
Followed up with Shayok Paul in discovering cooking skills and failing them miserably.
Shaikda, we have all been there.
Like the only cooking skill I can boast of is making Maggie, and that also not in 2 minutes. Next, we have Jaldeep. Wake up, eat, code, sleep, repeat. Also, Shayukta has a demand for Dhrumil. Let's see what other questions do we have.
Shubham, I have like just what would be your answer to this one?
First of all, I'm wondering how I should answer Viraj Singh's question. So in order to handle this question about backend dev with Node or Python, first of all, disclaimer, I don't work much with backend. I'm more of a front-end guy. But the first thing I started off with while I was working with backend was Node. That is the first thing I picked up after like going into backend. So Node is my preferred thing because that is how I am most familiar with. But currently, in my capacity as a software engineer in the company I'm in, I have to work with Python systems all the time because that is what powers our backend there. So I have had to familiarize myself with that as well. So essentially, it comes to a trade-off question of which language you're more proficient with, and like when it comes to the question of what is best for backend dev, again, it's the same answer I gave to Ravi. It's a question of whether you would learn a new language for backend dev, or if you know JavaScript, would you like to extend that same language for other features as well? So that is not a very good or well-structured answer, but off the top of my head, if anyone has done front end and is then going into backend and they already know JavaScript, from my experience, it's better to go start with Node. But again, like for Python systems like Flask and Django, they're super easy to pick up and start working with. So I wouldn't recommend against them either. So it's again a choice of whatever you feel most comfortable and familiar with. Okay.
Faiz,
Yashasvi, I would like to.
so
I would like
this is a very, very loaded question. And while we don't have any preferences, obviously, we as developers aren't allowed to have preferences, obviously React, but see, it depends on what kind of development you're doing. If you want a lot of people to work on something together, then probably React is the way to go. React or Angular in some cases, because these two will be the most used front-end frameworks. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Vue isn't used as much as Angular or React, and React is used most in the industry today. So if you want to work with a lot of people and you want to get more people into your project, then probably React is the way to go. If you want something very, very unique, then Vue probably has a different approach from these two. Shubham, what would you say?
From my experience, Angular is a very good when you have like a very scalable system to build, and I would prefer React when I have to build a prototype super fast and like in a matter of like say hours. So React is very good when it comes to implementing modular. But again, this is in my opinion and how I work with it. The reason among these three I would vote for Vue is because it brings the best of both worlds from both Angular and React. Like whenever you see the GDG websites, those are built on a template called Oda, and we have the person who actually facilitates the build of Oda in the audience today. So Vue brings the best of both Angular and React, and it's a choice you have to make whether you want to choose to go with Angular, React, or Vue. As far as I have worked with both three, I have found three of them extremely good in handling what they do. And another member of the audience, we have Devmala Bhattacharya, who is one of the core members of GDG Kolkata again. And I would have to thank him for getting me super jazzed about Angular, and then going on from there, picking up React again, and then just playing around with Vue. Since for a brief time, the Vue project got more stars in GitHub than React. So that was a brief time I explored that as well. I did some open source contribution with Vue as well. So overall, I think again, like, this is not a question where you can choose one over the other. It's again like three of them have their own pros and cons. It depends on like your use case again. So to go back to some of the other things that people were saying on quarantine, there is one by Abhishek Wak. Quarantine is not treating us well. Abhishek, thank you so much for this. Like, we try to help out as much as we can, and this is our small things to like put forward when we are all locked in our homes. We are trying to keep our motivations high and learn new things in the meantime as well. So thank you so much. Like, this is really heartening to know that we can actually help you out in a very proper way. Thank you so much. We have Dhruva Shastri on screen. She's enjoying the quarantine time because she's already working remotely since 1.5 years.
I guess that's the advantage of being developers and coders here.
That is a pro and a con, that you can work from anywhere, and the con is you have to work from anywhere.
Exactly.
Next, we have Kushma Thakkar. Yeah, Yashasvi, go ahead.
Yeah, I think Dhrumil is ready. So
okay, so we would like to like disappear ourselves now, and we hand it over to Dhrumil again. Thank you so much for staying on as we resolve this thing. But like, over to Dhrumil now.
Hey everyone, sorry for this interruption, and luckily my system has started. Now I'm just trying to running it. So once everything is up and running, I'll just simply start sharing the screen. So yeah, so we were discussing about that what we will do today is, today when we create an application, we will divide it in step by step. So first we will do a login. Now here in the login also, we will make it very simple. We'll make it as an anonymous login where there will be a simple button. On click of that, user will be get logged in into the Firebase, and that button will be get toggled to the logout, and once user will click on it, user will be get logged out. That's the first phase. Now the second phase is with the Firestore. So in the Firestore, what we will do, in the Firestore we will fetch the data and we will add the data. Today we will just talk about how to add the data and how to fetch the data in the real time, and then we will merge both these things. Like after logged in, we will go to the main screen where we fetch the data if the data is already available, and then we will try to add the new data, and we'll see that new data is getting reflected in the device or not, and we will simply log out. So this whole thing we are going to do today. So most of the time, the problem that I found with the developer with the Firebase is like how to integrate the Firebase with the Flutter, because most of the time the Firebase always gives a problem, especially when you integrate it, and the configuration is not right. We don't understand why this is like this, why it is not actually logged in properly, and there are a lot of crashes happens, and it just doesn't run. So the first step we will start with is like how we are going to integrate the Firebase with our app. My system is still lagging. I guess the Chrome is eating up a lot of memory. I don't know why. I can see in my activity manager. So my Chrome is almost eating 80 to 90% of CPU time. And why it is doing that way, I am totally out of mind that this shouldn't be happen. So yeah, so what we will do, I will switch to Firebase. I'll first share my screen. So are you guys able to see my screen now?
No, it's not visible.
Okay.
It's here.
Okay, cool. So now as you can see my screen here, I'm actually loading. Here we will create a new project in the Firebase. I hope everyone are aware of these steps, but there are some small things that we need to take care while we are actually integrating the Firebase with the Flutter. And this is actually the most critical part, and where most of the people face these issues. So what you need to do, you just simply click add new project. Here I will write Firebase Study Jam DSC HIT. Simply click on continue. I'll simply click on continue. I'll select an account. So I'm just selecting my own account and clicking on create project. Now once this will created, what we'll do, we will add this. We will create a new Android app and we'll add the required detail. So the details that we require is like whatever the Android app, I mean in the Flutter, the Android app that we have created. So here we require the package name. For the package name, you need to go to the Android folder. In the Android, there is one build.gradle file available outer side. Once you go to that build.gradle outer file, you can see the different configuration here. And there is a one more build.gradle into the app folder. This is app specific. So if you go inside into the app folder, you can see the configuration and everything. And here you can see the application ID. So let's just jump back to the Firebase and let's just check, okay, the app is created and we are into the app. Now I want to add into my Android app. So I'll click on this Android button. Now here it will ask me Android package name. So as we know, into the Android folder, into that particular Android, we have the app folder. In app, we have build.gradle file. And here I have my package name. I'll simply copy this package name. I'll go to Firebase. I'll paste it here. This is optional. This is optional. I'll simply click on register app. This whole configuration which I'm showing you, this is just for your debug purpose. So whatever you are building, it will run on your machine. Now click on next. Before clicking on next, we need to download this Google service.json file. As I click on it, it will be get downloaded. And this particular file, I need to paste it into my code folder. I'll show you how you can do this. I'll just simply opening it. Now this particular folder should go inside this app folder. Into the Android, sorry, my mistake. You can see also everything here which is mentioned. I'll show you here. So once you go, it should come into your main application into the app folder. So we will just open this particular folder app. We'll go to our file and I'll simply drag and drop into this app folder. Now there is some problem. Let's see when it will come. I'll show you. Now we'll click on next. Now the main part that we all need to take care of. First, we need to copy this file com.google.gms. Just click on it, copy, and go to the main Gradle file for the outer, which is the outside of the app. Go to build.gradle file, and here in the dependency section, go to the next line, paste the line over here. Once it is done, again, go to, now you can see it also asked to write this Google into the repository, and in the old project also the Google. Now, if you notice, we already have this pre-written, so we don't need to do anything over here. What we need to do is, now we need to actually update our pubsec.yml file. Right. So here we are going to add our Firebase auth. So what I'll do, I'll simply go to pub.dev. Here we have Firebase auth. Firebase auth. I'll search for it. First, I'll simply click on it. I'll go to installing part and I'll click copy. I'll go to pubsec.yml. I will paste it. This is second part in the configuration which we did. Now, this thing we did. Now, what we need to do, we need to actually copy this line, apply plugin. I'll copy this line, and this line I need to paste it into the app and into the builder Gradle, which resides into the app folder. And I'll go to the end. I'll simply paste and save this file. Now, as you can see, these are the only configuration that you need to do from the Firebase. You need to copy this class path and put it into your main build.gradle file under the dependency block. And then you need to copy this apply plugin line. You need to go to your apps build.gradle file and put this into the last line. And also copy your Google service.json file into the respected place. Now, once this will done, do a simple thing. Just go and run your app. And just to verify whether all configurations are proper or not. So meanwhile, it runs. What we'll do, we will create our UI. Here in the main application, I'm calling a file called login screen. I'll simply create this as a new file, login.dart. Here I have created login screen, and I'll now create my login screen here. App bar. My system is still hanging. I don't know why. I'm not able to type the code at all. I guess we are not able to continue with this because my system is not supporting, unfortunately. I'm not able to type the code. Let me just try to again. I hope this time it should work. No luck. Okay, so what we'll do, we will actually do this coding again, but before that I just wanted to explain you how this things works in the Flutter. So in the Flutter Firebase authentication for the anonymous login, we have only a simple method where you can simply just click on it and it will run. Let me just show you my ready-made code so that it will help you to understand. So it will not run, I guess, but yeah, you will be able to understand that what we are going to do today. Just a moment, let me just fetch my screen here. Okay. Awesome. So here, so what I have created here, so this is a one class that I have written in my code, where we actually use this method to call the login function. So let's just understand how the Firebase anonymous login works. So here what I have done is I have created one class called Authentication Service. In Authentication Service, I have actually used a object of a Firebase auth, and the Firebase auth returns one instance. So I have initialized this as in my internal member, which is a private member. As you know, in the Dart, if you want to make any variable private, you just need to add underscore before that particular variable name. Now here I have created one method, sign in anonymously. Here you can see that auth.signin anonymously is an inbuilt method of the Firebase, and that returns the auth result. So here what we are doing is we are actually fetching that particular result with the auth result. As this returns a future, so what I want to do is here I want to actually await until and unless it has been executed. So that's why I have added the await keyword just before this method calling. And as this particular method is becomes async because we are doing some long execution inside, so we need to add the async keyword over here, and the whole function itself returns a future because we never know how much time it will take. So that's why this method is also returns a future, and whatever the data that we get, it comes under the result as an auth result. Here I have created one helper method to convert the user that we get from the result into my Pojo class. Here is a Podo, plain Dart object. So here I have created one method that, for example, if I got a Firebase user, I'll simply create my user and return that user. So in the sign in anonymously method, we log in using Firebase sign in anonymously method, we'll get a result. That particular result, we will convert that particular result into our own user object. If I help you to see that particular file, I hope it loads. Yeah, so here I have added nothing, just a simple user ID just to track. Okay, so this is my own Pojo class. So this is a login method that I have written using the Firebase, and this is the sign out method or logout method, you can say. Again, this is the inbuilt method where you do not need to write any extra code. This is just simply your authentication object dot sign out, and I have created a method. Now, why I have created this method? Because I want to make my code a little bit cleaner. So that's why I have created this method. And otherwise, if you just want to just try out, you can write the whole code into the same file, but I will not suggest you. So this is kind of a best practice that you can start with. So this is my file, a signin.dart, where we have one app bar, one widget called center. Here, this sign in widget is actually a stateful. Now, why stateful? Because I want to show user is loading a loader when a user clicks on the sign in button. That means initially there is a login button or a sign in button which user can see, and when user click on it, user can see the loader. And once user gets this data, that loader should be removed from the screen and he should be redirected to the home screen or the main screen. So by default, my loader variable is loading is false. And here I have written a code like if is loading is true, so we will return circular progress indicator. If is loading is false, so we will show the raise button, our normal button. And here I have created some constants to show the sign in. Okay, so here you can see that particular variable have the text as a sign in. Now on praise, what I'm doing, I'm just setting the state is loading equal to true, and I'm calling this method which we have written in our auth.dart. So here the authentication service dot sign in anonymously. This authentication service is a variable that I have created, or an object to be specific, of my own class, which is auth.dart. So I have created an object of this, and I'm calling this method sign in anonymously from my login button click. And once I get the result, I'll check the result if the result is null or not. If it is null, I'm just simply printing error and setting the state is loading false. And if the result contains something, that means if I got the user, I'll simply just showing in the console that sign in, and I'm showing my user ID. So this is very simple. So this is the the benefit of the Firebase, that most of the thing that you need is already been written and it is available. You just need to put in the place and just start working on it. Okay. Cool. Till now, any question you guys have? So just feel free to post it into the comment. So this is the authentication. Now there is one more thing I want to mention here, that here I have created one stream to get the user. Here the Firebase authentication object have one method called onAuth state change. Now this method is actually used to check whether user is logged in or not. And if the user logged in state gets changed, it actually returns one object into the stream. So as you can see, the onAuth change returns a Firebase user in the stream. If the user is signed out, it returns nulls. If user is logged in, it returns an object. So what we can do in our app, we actually on the home screen, how we can decide whether user is logged in or not. So what I'm going to do is I'm simply using this stream. If I get null, I will redirect him to the login page. And if I'm getting a user, I'll redirect him to my home page. Okay, so what I have done here, I have wrote actually a one wrapper class. Let me just show you. Okay. So this is my simple wrapper class. And that particular stream, I have used a provider. And that provider, I'm actually initializing in my main function, in my main class, sorry. So this is my first main class where I have actually used my stream provider. And in stream provider, I'm providing the stream that auth-service.user, which we have created in our auth service, this user, so that I can use this object throughout the application. And I have simply created one wrapper widget. Now, if you go to the wrapper widget, sorry, if you go to the wrapper widget, in the wrapper, I have simply accessing my user variable from the provider, and I'm just checking if my user equal to null, that means my user is logged out or is not logged in. I'll simply redirect him to my sign in. And if user is logged in, then I'm simply redirecting him to my home page. And in the home page, I'm just passing my user ID. Okay, cool. So that's how actually we are doing the sign in. Now let's jump to the database side, that how actually the Firestore works. Okay, so in the Firestore, let me just show you what happens in the Firestore. So there are actually two kinds of database available. In the Firebase, one is a JSON base and second is a NoSQL, which is like document base. So today we are going to discuss about that database, which is a document base, which is called Firestore. So if we go to database, and one more thing, to enable the anonymous sign-in, you need to go to the authentication tab in the Firebase. Once you go to in the authentication tab, you need to go to sign in methods, which is on the second tab. Once you click on it, it will list down all the different methods that are available: email, password, phone, Google, GitHub, Yahoo, everything. We need the anonymous. Just simply click on this pencil icon, enable it, and save it. Once you do this, then only you will be able to implement, or the code that we have just seen, it will work. Otherwise, it won't work here. Now, let's just switch back to the database. Here we need to create a database. Just click on it, create database. It will ask starting production or starting test mode. We'll click on starting test mode. We'll click on next. And I'll click on, I need to select the cloud store location. I'll simply click on done. Now, meanwhile, the database is being created. Let me just show you how the code should be written in the database. So again, as we created the authentication services, where we can have everything regarding the Firebase in a single file. Regarding the authentication, I have created same another file called database.dart, where I have created one class called database service. Now in database service, what we need, we actually going to use our Firebase data store or Firestore to be specific. So if I explain you how this works, is here we have a collection, and every collection has some data which is called as a document. So in Firebase, whatever you see, that means, let me just map you into the relational database. In the relational database, we have classes. Sorry, we have a tables, and each table have the rows as in one record. In Firebase, or you can say a NoSQL database, we have a collection, and each collection have one document. Now each document is like a one row, and collection is like a table. So here, what we have created is, we actually done a one collection reference. So that means I need one collection, that means one table, and here I'm passing name as a weights. So this sample is like weight logger, so you can actually log your weight. So here I have created a table or a doc or a collection with the title weights, and that I'm referring to the database into the data collection object into the database service. So data collection equal to firestore.instance. I'm creating a one instance, and I'm just referring this table. So now I got this reference. Now what I want to do is, I actually want to add data and get data. Okay, we can actually add it and delete the data also, that we'll discuss further. Now to add the data, now that you might be having a question that what if there is no collection available, or there is no any structure available, how that will know that we have actually the weights or not? Because as we can see here, we don't have any collection here. So how it will gonna work? Simple. The Firebase, if the Firebase doesn't found any collection into his collection record, it will create automatically with the configuration that we give or the fields that we give. So here in the add data, what I'm doing, I am actually adding weight, the date and time, at what time I'm actually recording my weight, and the user ID, so that whenever I log in again, I know this is my data, and this doesn't get mixed up with any other's data. Okay, so I'm simply getting my current user from Firebase auth.instance.current user. It is inbuilt method from the Firebase authentication. It will simply return my current user. Now to add the data, what I need a reference of my collection. So I have the data collection object. Now in that, there is a one method called add, and I'm just simply adding as in map. Because in Firebase data store, everything is like a document, and document is a simple map. So you can add string, numbers, boolean, blank kind of data in it. Okay, so here I have created keys and respected values I am passing. And why I am putting in a try case, so that if something bad happens, I know exactly what goes wrong. So this is my add method to the fast store, and this is my fetch method to get the weights. Now, Firebase support two kinds of fetching. One is stream based, and second is a future based. So stream based actually helps you to keep your data as in real time. So whenever any changes will happen into the Firebase data store, simply stream back. And if you have subscribed to the stream, so that you can update your screen based on the stream that you have subscribed. So here what I want is, I want a data from my collection where the user ID which I am passing and the date in time is in descending. That means I want the recent data on the top and only those weights which are logged with my user ID, right? So here data collection, here I'm passing the where query. In where query, I'm also adding the order by query, and then snapshot. So snapshot means it will actually return the stream of query snapshot. Now, what is query snapshot, that we will discuss now. So I hope this is clear how to add and how to get data, or how to write actually the code to get the data from the Firebase and to add to the Firebase. Now, how we are going to utilize in our app, that I'll show you. So in the home page, as you know that in the wrapper, we have written that if user is logged in, that means if we got the user, we'll simply redirect him to the home page. So in the home page, so this is my home page. Here I have created authentication service object and also database service object. Now, why authentication service? So that I can show you how the user will, once user will logged out, how he will able to actually, how we can actually implement that logged out feature that we have written. Let me just try to run this app. Meanwhile, we are discussing the code. So we have authentication service and database service in it. This is the code that I have written, where in the app bar I have one button called sign out. So, and here I'm actually calling that method authentication service dot sign out. And as you can see, we have this kind of icon into the app bar right hand side. So that's the number one. Number two, I have added the floating action button. Now the floating action button I use to add or edit the weight. So I have already created one widget to add, edit, or delete that particular record, and we are navigating the user to that particular screen if user want to add, edit, or delete that particular record. Now in this home screen, what we are doing, we are actually fetching the data and showing that whatever the weights has been logged or not. So as we discussed here, we have a column. In the column, I have added the expanded. The reason, actually, I shouldn't be adding the column. We can actually remove the expanded column. Earlier, I was doing the different code. That's why I have added. You can remove that. Here we have a stream builder. That stream builder is actually streaming this query snapshot. And this query snapshot comes from the database service.get weights. As we discussed this in the database, this method get weights, it accepts the user ID and it returns the stream. So same, this particular stream we are actually subscribing in my home. Now here, if you check in the snapshot, so whatever the data that I receive, first I check whether that particular snapshot has a data or not. If it doesn't have a data, I'll simply showing the circular progress indicator. Now, for example, if it has a blank data, So it will actually return the data, and this method, this has data method, will actually returns some data like a blank array. So that's why if you have a question that what if we don't have any data and how I can actually show that, hey, there is no data available, and how I can read off this circular progress bar. So actually that particular code you should write into after this if, because this if is until you don't have any data, not, I mean, this snapshot doesn't contain any data. This is simply null or like nothing. So at that time, you can actually show the circular progress indicator. Once you get the blank data, you can actually show that, okay, no data available or add or something. So here I have created the wait list where I am actually passing the database service object. And I'm passing actually the snapshot that I'm receiving. Here, as you notice, the query snapshot is received from the database from the Firestore. Now, as we discussed in the Firestore, we have two things. One, a collection, and another is like my documents. So this query snapshot is an object of a stream that we have subscribed. Now, this particular stream returns a documents. So as you can see here, this particular snapshot has data. Now, if it doesn't have a data, we're showing circular progress indicator. If it has data, so that means in snapshot, in data, we have the documents, and these documents we are passing to this widget. Now, this waitlist widget, if we open this waitlist widget, here I'm actually rendering the whole list. So we have database service and snapshot received from the earlier homepage. Here I'm actually checking that, hey, widget.snapshot.length is less than equal to 0, then I'm actually showing no data found or no data available. Okay, so here I have one string which is no data found. Start logging your wait. Okay, so this is how you can do here. And here I am actually building my list view. In the list view, I have children, and I'm whatever the data that I have, I'm just simply calling a map function. So each and every data I'm receiving from my homepage into the snapshot, I'm just passing it to the wait item. And that wait item is actually responsible to show a single row of my list view. So if you can see, the code is pretty well, and how you should actually write the code. So each and every single independent widget, which is responsible to work individually, I have kept it as a separate in the file. So that if I want to change anything, for example, if I want to change anything into the list view, or if I want to change anything particular the list item, I can do very easily, and it will not affect the whole code. So now, as this wait item receives particular wait or particular document, here what I'm doing, I'm simply created. Let me just go to the build method. Here I have actually the list type, and in the title, I'm simply passing my wait item dot wait and my time. So if you go a subtitle, in the subtitle, I have one icon, edit and delete. And in the trailing, we have an icon of edit and delete. And in the subtitle, I'm actually getting this date and time, and I'm converting that particular date and time in my format. Now, whatever the format you require, you can simply write a function, and you can return it. So we are not going to discuss this, but this is how one should write. Now here there is one more thing that I have mentioned. So in the edit and in the delete, what I'm doing is, in the edit code, on the press of edit button, we are again navigating user from that particular list item to the add or edit widget screen, where we are passing the weight, so that whatever the weight that user has already selected, that should be shown on the screen, and user can edit that. And on the delete, we are actually showing a dialog box to confirm whether user really want to delete, or he by mistakenly click on this delete button. So we have a alert dialog box. So this particular alert dialog I have created, where a title and description is passed. And if user clicks on yes, for example, this is my yes button. So I'll simply calling this database service dot delete data, and I'm deleting the data. As in the database that we skip of discussing about edit and delete, that we'll discuss right now. So in the delete data, we have data collection dot document. Here, whatever the document that I am passing, that particular ID is required, and dot delete. So in the Firebase, if you want to delete any kind of data, you just need the ID of the particular document. As the row has one symbol, so we have one row. That row has a one ID, that is document ID. So here the wait item dot ID, and I'm simply calling this delete method on this particular document. And once it will be deleted, we are redirecting user to the main screen. So as you can see, this is navigator.pop, and user will be redirected. So that's how this wait item and wait list work. Now, as after fetching and adding the data,
I think we lost the streaming. I think there must be some issue on Dhrumil's side. Uh, Shivam, are you still there? Guys, just give us a few minutes. We'll sort this out. Um, there was probably some connectivity issue on Dhrumil's side. Uh, let's see if we can sort this out.
Dhrumil, to come back, there was an internet issue. Sometime you just like. In the meantime, we shall continue like discussing in the comments. Any other questions? We can pick that up.
So we don't really have any new questions after this. The last one. I don't think. Wait. No versus PHP.
Guys, we are really sorry for the outages that are key. But like that we can have and resume the session.
Yeah, this is a very interesting comment. Are any of you guys working on anything interesting? Uh, more importantly, what new things are you guys learning right now?
Volunteer, we are just going to talk of quarantine. What are some of the steps we are doing, some of the work we are doing. Um, one SHE.com that's built on a Jamstack, right? So what we are trying to build a very simple system is a Git-based CMS, which would help us, which would make easy for us and the other community and core members to push updates to the website by just doing a small commit on the Git tree. So there is so we'll just talk about Jamstack for some time now. So okay, Dhrumil is having some issues connecting to StreamYard. Um, okay, so. I guess that would mean that we have to like terminate the session here because since StreamYard is down for him. But like we'll be coming back again and like have like a part 2 of the session back up. Um, Apologies for this inconvenience, but in the meantime, uh, while we are at it, Dhrumil, if you are hearing us, thank you so much for being here and sharing it. Like, we cannot help technical flaws, and considering the times when the internet and servers everywhere is stretched, we totally understand what's going on. Thank you so much for agreeing to be with us. We would surely pick this up and make it another second part of the session where we continue talking about what we were. Thank you so much to everyone else for joining us and staying on in spite of all the umpteen glitches that we went through. And yeah, so we're going to stay here for some more time. And like, if you guys want to talk about something and all, okay, we see Dhrumil back here at StreamYard. So we're just going to wait one more minute. But like, yeah. So while we wait for Dhrumil to get back up, get his system back up and running, we're talking about Jamstack. So in another paradigm, when we talk about Jamstack, so Firebase is a very important part of the Jamstack because Firebase provides you with a certain service known as cloud functions. We would come back to that. And what you can do with cloud functions is essentially cloud functions provide you something known as a functions as a service, which allows you to connect, which allows you to be a front-end developer, write vanilla JavaScript, and connect to a whole plethora of background applications. So, for instance, even if you're a web developer, you can to connect your front-end app, front-end website with Firebase, with Firestore, and then you can do lots of things with that. So cloud functions are one of the primary bridges, you can say, in Jamstack. Out of context, while we talked about Jamstack, I forgot to mention what Jam stands for. It stands for JavaScript, API, and Markdown. So using those three things, we can build full-fledged custom experiences that anyone can prototype and start working with at a moment's notice.
Okay, so Shubham, I'll be adding Dhrumil back in.
Yep, sure thing. So,
okay.
Yep.
Dhrumil, you're back on.
I guess this is like today's my bad day. The things are, sometimes working, sometimes not. The StreamYard is even the electricity is not here. So yep. So there is no lights. I'm sorry. I guess today is not my day. But yeah. So here the app is actually running. I just want to just give you the quick glance of it, how the whole application is working that we have just discussed. So what I'm going to do is I'm simply like add new data. I hope it works because before joining the stream, it was working. Or maybe the StreamYard is actually eating, a lot of things. Yeah. So the app looks like this. So as we discussed that if we don't have a data, it will show that no data found, start logging your weights. And we have the floating action button to add or edit the data. And we have the logout button on the top right-hand side, which will help us to log out from the screen. Okay, I'm just restarting the app. I hope it will work. I don't know why it is taking too much memory. But yeah, what I'll do is I'll actually, let's just wrap this up. What I'll do, I'll simply create one video to, discuss each and everything, and we will post this. And extremely sorry for, the whole glitch and the whole interruption that happened. And I'm not able to, do the live coding just because of this technical glitch. But I hope I'm able to help you somewhere to understand the concepts of how actually the Firebase fast store and the authentication, at least the anonymous authentication works. The email authentication and the Gmail authentication almost works similar. There is no big difference in that. But I really, don't feel good today just because of this, the whole things happened. Shom, I guess, we should conclude this rather than, the wasting time of all the community members. And as I said, I'll just simply, record the video and put it on my YouTube so that everyone can, see that with all the details. Thank you so much for having me. And
thank you so much, Dhrumil, for being with us through this time, and thank you everyone for being with us through this entire thing. Sorry for the glitches that happened along the way. We would keep learning from this experience and hope for the next time we join you, we can provide you a better one. So until next time, peace.
Bye, guys.